Hello and welcome to Let's Enter the Arena. I'm your host, VM Campos, and this is the podcast where we talk with a member of the Magic the Gathering community and focus on Magic Arena. Well, everyone, by the time you hear this, the Early Access Streamer event has just happened. Thank you to Wizards of the Coast for giving me a chance to be on that and to play with all of those amazing cards with Corset 2021. So I've got a guest this week that also joined me on the Early Access event. Please welcome back wizardoak.
Hello.
Thanks so much for coming back to the podcast. Yeah, so we just had the Early Access event. Thanks to Wizards of the Coast for inviting us, and I know I had a pretty good time on it. What about yourself?
I have a pretty good time myself as well.
Great. We have a lot of cards to talk about in Corset 2021. But before that, can you give us a little bit of where can we find you online, your streaming, your Twitter, social media, whatever you want?
Well, I'm on Twitter, YouTube, so I, of course, sometimes making videos on the card choices, or even now I'm starting talking about the lore and the whole news about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, I also on Twitter, I do play Magic gatherings and even other games in my own time.
Well, that's great. I will put all your links in the show notes so people can go check out your stuff. And that's cool that you're segueing into a variety of things besides gameplay. You've also said you do news and all of that, and there's plenty of news in the world of Magic nowadays. So hearing more perspectives is always good.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. So before going on to the main topic, one of the big topics outside of the world of Magic is that there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. And do you have any words of encouragement, positive thoughts, or personal recollections that you'd like to give about any of the big topics of the world at the moment?
Well, so far I always say, with the world that's going on with the whole coronavirus, the Black Lives Matters, and whatever is coming up these days, I always say keep calm and carry on, and also support as you can.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice. We all have the ability to contribute as much as possible, either through direct action like being at a protest or contributing monetarily perhaps, or through creating artwork. Sometimes people don't think about it that way in terms of, well, I want to help by creating something positive for people.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit then of some Magic. That's the big focus of this podcast. We're going to talk about Corset 2021. So many great cards to add to our decks in a variety of formats: standard, historic, brawl, or even if you're going outside of Arena, there's a world of outside of Arena, and you can make some great commander decks or pioneer decks, whatever. So we've got a few cards to talk about. What's the first one that you want to share?
Okay, the first one is, of course, a Planewalker, which everyone favored, of course, Sarah framed Classity, which, of course, I just love some of the stats of it. It is, of course, it's a 4 generic and 2 red mana cost. And I just love some of the loyalty abilities of it. Like, of course, the first one is like, she will deal 3 damage to each opponent. So that's kind of great if you're playing her on Commander, of course. But even though a good 3 damage is miserably good also if you're against someone solo.
Yeah.
Other is you may cast a Red Instinct or Sorcery from your grave, and of course if that spell put in the grave, exile it instead. This is absolutely great for any Mono Reds players out there. Like I just kind of like, holy crap, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be amazing on Mono Red somehow. And even other is, of course, the big opponent that is -8, the last one. Discard your hand, then draw 7 cards until end of turn. You may cast a spell from your hand without pay of any of the mana costs, which is amazing. like example, if you got like a bigger beast, I just discard and draw 7 cards out of it, and you just want to cast it, that is amazing. I just like, she's going to be probably one of the top favorite Planewalker out of this new amazing core set of this year. Maybe the whole core set of all, I believe.
It feels like that, doesn't it? That this might be one of the best core sets ever, with a lot of great reprints, a lot of great new cards, and a lot of great synergy cards.
Yeah, I mean, after like looking at each previews, I cannot name them all, whatever, but there's like over like 300 of them.
Yeah.
I just like instantly love it. I mean, even of course, I love of course the hounds are now changed into dogs now. So if you have a hound dog, it's going to be a dog now.
Yeah.
So yeah, but this year with the new core set is definitely well deserved a high praise of this year for any Magic Gathering players, even the new or the old as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that they need to do with core sets, and I think they've done it right here, in that there are cards for the new players, like you said, and then the established players is a card for everyone. So this one that you picked here, like you just said, all of these abilities are great. Even if you summon her right away, -2 right away, you've got plenty of that starting loyalty of 5 to do the -2 right away to go do that instant or sorcery that you had previously used to get some advantage. But definitely the -8 is the big splashy one where you get a whole new set of 7 cards and you can cast one for free. And it shouldn't be too hard to get to that -8, because you're going to have some creatures to defend her, you're going to have some direct damage. So I think Chandra's Flames Catalyst is going to work really well.
Yeah, but the most important is trying to defend from the Manticore itself, of course.
Oh yeah, that brand new Manticore that is a total Planeswalker killer.
Yeah, it's definitely, to me, even though this doesn't say Death Touch or ever, but it is definitely a Death Touch card.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't have any... You can do that ping ability without a tap, so as long as you've got the mana for it, you're slowly pinging and you're going to get Death Touch on that Planeswalker pretty fast.
Yeah, even though it's not on my list of the top of the 3, I just want to highlight it, but I just want to mention there.
I think this is an example of players that have played for a while. This is an answer to a card that's been out a while. Planeswalkers have been around. That type of card has been around for a little over 10 years now. And the thing that's kind of cool about the game is that they think about these cards, these card types, these abilities, and then later on they print answers for them. They do the whole gamut of let's do cool stuff, but then let's do stuff against the cool stuff. And like Planeswalkers themselves, how do you answer a Planeswalker? Now we've got that Mastercore as an artifact, so it could go in any deck to help you deal with Planeswalkers.
Yeah, that's also so amazing. I mean, even this also will be superbly great on draft itself as well, because you never know in case a player could have a Planeswalker on their draft deck as well. So yeah.
Usually if a person gets a Planeswalker at a draft, it's pretty game over, because it's always hard to answer that sort of Planeswalker. But if they've got this Spark Hunter Masticore, yeah, only 3 mana, it's a 3/4. Even if there's no Planeswalkers on the opponent's side, a 3 mana for a 3/4 is still pretty good.
Oh yeah.
The card that I'm picking is also a red card, but I've gone with Gadrak, the Crown Scourge. This is a legendary creature dragon. For only 3 mana, we have a 5/4 flyer, a 5/4 dragon. So only 3 mana to get 5/4 and flying. The catch, however, is that it cannot attack unless you control 4 or more artifacts. So one way that I would like to build this deck is just put a lot of equipment into a deck, like low-cost equipment, so that then I can build up those 4 necessary artifacts and then equip them to Gadrak, and then there I'm attacking with a big old 5/4 with very little mana. I'm also able to create treasure tokens, which are artifacts, if my opponent's creatures die. So even though Gadrak cannot attack right away, it can still defend. And once I build up enough artifacts, I have a big attacking dragon, and I kind of like that about... Sometimes it's just about like a big creature to go wreck your opponent.
Yeah, since you say that with the whole artifacts, it's almost like you could also probably put the food tokens into it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because food tokens are actually artifacts. So that's how it could help it out.
Oh, that's a good idea. Then the deck could be red and green, because I know green also can do more food than red, possibly. But that's a good idea, putting food in there to feed the dragon to attack.
Yep. I mean, I just like, oh, wait, I have a good idea. And yeah, it's just like, wait, hold on. Food is artifact, so that still counts. And even, of course, there are other artifacts that this doesn't have to be generic. There's also, of course, red has their own artifacts, the greens as well. So, of course, if you want to put the Immerclave into it as well.
Or to be even funnier, what is that one red artifact in Eldraine, like the ruby slippers or silver slippers? You know, it'd be really funny to put a dainty little slipper on this dragon as well, and to have your artifact count.
I believe it's glass slippers.
Glass slippers, that sounds... I think
so.
Or
crystal slipper, or whatever, I can't even remember now.
Okay, I looked it up right here. Yeah, it's Crystal Slipper. It's only one red and one more. It equips for only one. It gives a creature +1 in haste. So imagine that you've got Gadrak, and then slowly you're putting artifacts. Then the fourth artifact that you put down is the Crystal Slipper. You equip it right away for one. You give the Gadrak +1 and haste. And I just think it's really funny to have a big scary dragon attacking you with a little Crystal Slipper on one of its paws. All right, so that was my first card. Let's hear another one of your cards.
One is, of course, I want to probably bring this laughable movie quote from Ghostbusters, that line. Dogs and cats are living together while Armageddon is happening.
Yeah.
So this is the card I'm going to mention, is Rin and Seri, Inseparable, which is a legendary creature that is a cat and a dog. And of course, it is called one generic, one red, one green, one white. And this is like the most ridiculous card I ever read due to the ability of it. Whenever you cast a dog spell, it will generate one green cat that is a 1/1 token. And same with the cat, but it will create dogs, but it's a white dog token. And even, of course, once you have like a good number of them, you will use, of course, the Mama ability that is, of course, if it's a red, green, white, and tap. Of course, this card will deal damage to any target that's equal to the number of dogs you have. Then, you will gain life equally to the number of cats you controlled.
Cats and dogs working together.
Yes. It is ridiculous. I mean, okay, I thought cats and dogs are meant to be enemies, but them two are inseparable and they are teaming up.
Yeah.
This is the unholy alliance, people.
Yes. Have you heard the expression that sometimes, when people are married long enough, they start to look like each other? These two pets, they're starting to look like each other. They both have those little perky ears and their expressions and everything, and they've been inseparable for so long, and they've even got their paws on each other in such a cute, loving way, like they've been a couple for a little while now.
Oh, now I see it. Wow, whoever is the artist of this is the artist is, can you see it?
Leisha Hannigan.
Yeah. That is spot on what you say. I didn't realize that until I just noticed.
Yeah.
Which, of course, now I get it. So there must be lovers or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to talk about their kids.
Exactly. They're going to have like, cattails plus dog ears, and they're going to be even stronger than their parents. Maybe we're going to see next their planeswalker offspring.
Oh Lord, I don't know how that's going to work out. And as I'm against it, is I don't know how this is going to work out. Like, it's going to be some weird hybrid. Who knows? Maybe it's in the next feature set or ever.
Yes. When we return to Ikoria.
Yeah.
So I like this card a lot as well. It's got 3 colors, so that means you get the best of all of them. In case you need to do direct damage, you've got red. In case you need to do ramp, you've got green. In case you want to gain life or do other, creature lockdown and such, you've got white. So, did you ever, in Northern Ireland, did they ever show the cartoon Cat Dog on Nickelodeon?
Yeah. I remember that old kid show that the cat and dog are basically now somehow like saying each other. I can't remember, but I remember watching it before.
Yeah.
Now I kind of forgot the whole concept of it.
I don't remember watching very much of it either. I just remember it was, yes, a cat and a dog joined together somehow, and they've got their own personalities. Now, I bring that up because the name of that show was Cat Dog, and so I think it is a flavor fail for Wizards to have not put in that type line right there, legendary creature Cat Dog. I would have loved for them to have had it Cat Dog, just like the TV show, but no, they put Dog Cat.
Who knows, maybe someone probably wanted to make an alter art of it soon.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Exactly.
That would be gold. Probably like gonna be whatever.
Yeah. So now, like you said earlier, that that hounds have become dogs. We're getting some more dog focused cards. So there's plenty of other cards in core set 21 that help. Like there's that one dog lord that gives all dogs +1. So if you have that one summoned as well as Rin and Seri, then this card Rin and Seri will be a 5/5 thanks to that other dog lord. I like how that one gives the +1 to the other dogs, but then also really protects itself and other dogs when it attacks, almost like indestructible when attacking. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I kind of like, why I picked this. It's like, okay, it buffs up the dogs, which is great, but when it attacks, all combat damage dealt to any dogs you sent in, it's basically would be indestructible, basically. But that's only if you sent in the dogs.
Yes.
So that's the most important. So it does do what Mr. Burns always say, setting the hounds, even though there are dogs.
Yes. They're going to go back to this. They're going to go back to those episodes of The Simpsons and change it from him, release the hounds, into release the dogs, just to an honor of magic.
Yeah. Spread the wealth of Disney in the future.
Yes. What I like about this card as well is that it is not legendary, so that means you can put all 4 copies of Pack Leader into your deck, and then you're giving the dogs +4/+4.
Yeah. And that's what I so amazing about it. Like, even of course, with the cats and dogs is going to be the most maybe the most talked about tribal deck right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know how strong it's going to be. It's like the most important of them all. Mm-hmm. So we don't know how it's going to work, but we know it's ridiculous on their abilities.
Yeah. And even though today's focus is core set 21, the cards of the next set, Jumpstart, have been revealed as well. And I saw a few dogs in there as well. I don't know if you've noticed any of the Jumpstart spoilers and previews.
Sadly, I haven't checked it out yet. I was too busy mainly focused on the 20 core. So, yeah, if you want to jump in on the whole Jumpstart, that's okay.
Well, let me just send you right here just a link here on our chat if you want to check that, just to stay on topic of what we were saying about dogs. There's 2 more dogs coming out in Jumpstart, and we are going to get Jumpstart cards in Arena, which I think that's pretty amazing. It's a whole new set of cards. It's sort of like vaguely a master set and all of that, in that there's a bunch of reprints and new cards, but there's some new dogs in there too. The one that I like is the Trusty Retriever. That's a 4-mana 2/3 dog with some amazing art. I like some of these arts that they make some of the dogs like realistic and like tough, but then they make other art that looks a little bit more cartoony and fun. And Trusty Retriever is, I think, one of those fun arts, because you see a little dog running through the battlefield carrying a weapon. So you get a 2/3. When it enters the battlefield, you choose either to put a +1 counter on itself, or return an artifact or enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. So you get back something that you might have lost in the battlefield. And even lastly, the flavor text says, wipe away the slobber, and it's as good as new. Give or take a bite. Give or take a few bite marks.
That is some good quote there.
Yeah.
Even though that is actually a better card as a dog, able to like return an artifact or enchantment from your graveyard, is really great in my perspective. Even though it is of course a 3 generic and 1 white, so that's like a 4-mana cost, but it is definitely decent enough with the whole ability of it.
Yeah, and you're right that, okay, 4 mana for a 2/3 isn't amazing, but they stuck in 2 things. Either make itself stronger, either make itself into a 3/4. If it's a 3/4 for 4 mana, that's better. Or if you don't need the +1s, you can go bring back your Ember Cleave or whatever that went to the graveyard, or bring back your enchantment that was also useful to you. So I think that Trusty Retriever can do multiple things.
Oh, yes. Of course, even though I definitely, of course, probably could put this in my idea of, cats and dogs thrive deck in the future, but it only depends on, of course, how strong it is altogether.
That's the great thing about getting an influx of so many new cards, that it's a great time to start experimenting with new cards and strategies, and even go back to our older decks and then add stuff to it. I don't know about you, but when I'm in Arena, I have a deck that I previously crafted, and then I like to clone it so that then I can leave an original copy, and then with my new copy start to play with it and remove cards and add cards.
Same with me as well. Sometimes I always like to go a little experiment with something.
Yeah. So my next card over here is, this one's kind of hard to pronounce, but I think it's pronounced Jolriel Moanvuli Recluse. Let me send you the link there. It is very hard to pronounce, but she is a green human druid, only 2 mana, so very mana efficient. You get a 1/2. So one of her abilities is whenever you draw your second card each turn, you create a 2/2 green cat creature token. So if you're able to get more card draw in green, in mono green, or coupling green with something else like blue, you're going to be drawing more cards, and then you're going to be making cat creatures. So speaking of cats with Rin Seri, what if we put Jolriel in there with Rin Seri? You're making even more cats, and remember you can do Rin Seri's ability to deal damage with dogs or gain life with cats. So I like this legendary for that. And then when you've got 6 mana until end of turn, all your creatures have base power and toughness of X, where X is the number of cards. So if you've got lots of cards in your hand, your little cats, your little dogs can become big cats and big dogs with a lot of cards in your hand.
Yeah, that actually is great if you put the thought of it. Even though it's like when you draw a 7 card, it's almost like, how are you going to draw a second card with the whole cat thing? Well, cat and dogs. But her mana ability is absolutely pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Of course, what you said with the power and toughness base would be like, God knows how many, like, probably with the amount of cards in her hand. is actually pretty amazing.
Yeah. One possible idea that I was having is, okay, let's say you're making a brawl deck with this character. So one of the like auto includes in green in a brawl deck is Guardian Project. That is the green enchantment that every time you cast a creature that has a unique name, you draw a card. So Brawl is singleton. Brawl is everything of one card only. So if you've got that enchantment, as soon as you're summoning any creature, that'll give you that second card draw after your first card draw of your turn. So that's a possibility. If you're putting her in a Rin Seri deck where you've got red, there's a few cards in red. There's a card, for example, like 1 red mana, give your creature haste and draw a card. There's different little cards like that give you 1 extra card to be able to power your Jolrael to make more cats.
That is amazing. With the way you put it there.
Yeah, I think building around it, there's just so many cards to choose from. There's like at any one point in standard, there's like over 1,000 cards to work with. If you go to historic, there's even more. If you go to commander, there's even more pioneer, modern. So there's so many pieces of this puzzle of Magic to build cards that I think that's one of my favorite things about the game, that there are just so many ways to put this together. Like when I was first looking at this card, Jolrael, I thought also like, how are you going to draw more cards? If you're only mono green, there might be some ways to do it, but then if you put her in a multicolored deck, there's other ways there too, so more cats is more good.
That's right, you gotta like all those kittens.
Yes. And we also have another cat lord. We have, what's the name of that new green cat that makes your cats +1? Let me see here. Oh, here it is. Feline Sovereign. So it's mono green, 3 mana. It's a 2/3. Other cats get +1 and have protection from dogs. So that's a little funny in that if you're making a Rin Seri deck, they're all friends, but then the Feline Sovereign then does the classic, no, cats have protection from dogs. And then when any of your cats deals damage to a player, destroy one of their artifacts or enchantments.
Ah, well, with the way you put that, it's almost like you could want to make a deck that is cats, and another deck is dogs, and you probably have your cats versus dogs match.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you think of that, yeah, the cats probably win if you put that feline in.
And it's also similar to Pack Leader in that it is not legendary, so you can put all 4 copies into one deck and you're giving all your kittens a +1/+1.
That is true. And even, of course, with whenever you have 1 or more, of course, cats under your control, deal combat damage to the player, you can destroy their artifacts and enchantment they controlled. So that is amazing, and it can make sense, because cats sometimes are known to break things instead of dogs.
Yes.
Like,
even the art represents that, because then you have there that little cat and it knocked over the goblet and it's doing in the art exactly what the ability of the card is doing.
Yeah. It's almost like the artist is trying to give us a message here. Always have issue with his cats.
I really like it when the artists give these little extra things in their artwork that also coincide with the ability of the cards.
True.
So now let's reveal something to the listener. We are actually recording this before the early access event. I know earlier we talked about it in the past tense, but in actuality, dear listener, we are recording this beforehand. So we have not actually done the early access event. So all of this that we're talking about right now is giving us ideas for the early access event. What do you think about that? To craft some of these decks that now that we've been talking about it for the early access event.
Like, even though I got like tons and tons of reading on a lot of theory crafting of each decks, it's definitely like, what is the best deck to play? Well, when it arrives on digitally soon. But it's almost like I want to experiment with cats and dogs here. I mean, I'm kind of a barking mad about it. I am sorry for the bomb. Part of my brain says it. Just say it. Just say it. Just say bark, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Then let her probably say meow.
I am barking mad, right meow.
Yeah.
So I want to definitely craft and play with a lot of fun decks. The early access event is a balance between people that want to play the latest cards and make the strongest decks, but there are also many people that simply want to play with the cards in a fun way. And that's what I try to do in our private Discord that we cannot talk about. But that's what I like to do in that private Discord about let's connect with other people that want to do 1v1s, that want to do the direct challenge of fun decks. So I know that during the early access event, I'm going to be crafting mostly Core Set 21 only decks. I really like to make those kinds of decks where it's just only cards from the new set. And so yes, of course, if I added cards from all of Standard, it'll be a way better deck. But my joy from playing the early access event is to do that set only decks and fun decks and meme decks and tribal decks. And I hope other people as well in the event do so that we can all try out the new cards.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part of the word, the gathering, all about. It's always about not just face each other, you're just having fun. And that's the big gathering all about.
Yeah, and especially in many parts of the world where we cannot physically gather, I really enjoy this, that we have this ability to gather with, about 1,000 other people that were selected by Wizards of the Coast to show off the new cards.
Yep.
All right, great. Any other cards or thoughts that we could go on to with the new set?
Well, I want to talk about the classic, and I hope I don't butcher her name. Asris Lost But Seeken. Of course, that big, powerful reprint. It's a legendary creature that is a two generic, one green, human monk, and of course, you may play 2 additional land on each of your turn, which is amazing.
I like her card a lot, although I feel in general green has been so strong recently. So much ramp, so much acceleration. We have Growth Spiral, we have Wilderness Reclamation, we have Uro. Here's more acceleration, but if people love playing big creatures, Azusa will definitely help you get to those big creatures.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's most important of it.
Yeah.
And even, of course, I mean, it's no lame, I can't remember that name of it. What do you call that elf?
Llanowar Elf?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, some people kind of compared it to it, even though that elf is kind of like, you have to tap and whatsoever. But I kind of like the new one, the Llanowar Fizner, isn't it?
Yeah, is that the one that draws you a card and gives you the mana?
Yeah, I actually like that big fusion there. I believe it's a new deck, isn't it? A new card.
I think so. I heard on someone else's podcast that they said, well, they've stapled 2 cards together, Llanowar Elf plus something else, and then it gives you the mana and it gives you the card draw. So I think it's a brand new card combination.
Yeah. And I just kind of like that one anyways. I mean, it's maybe like a 3 mana cost with 2 generic, 1 green, but it's definitely a great card to play as a common. So it's definitely, you want to put that on your draft if you're playing draft at all. Or even limit as well.
Yeah, this is one of the big secrets to getting ahead of your opponent or getting in a better position than your opponent, which is more lands. So the more lands that you have versus your opponent, the more you can do. When you summon Azusa, it lets you play 2 additional lands. So at whatever turn that you're at, you can drop 2 more lands. So very powerful ability. I like the art a lot, like the whole green aesthetic of it. The whole frame is green. She's got a green flower. The flowers behind her are green. She's got a green glow on her skin and hair. I just really feel this is a beautiful representation of a green card.
Yeah, I mean, even though this is an update art of the course of the old card, but I actually love this new one right now.
Oh, I never saw the old one. I'm looking at it right now, and yeah, I like the new one better. She looks much more peaceful and powerful in magic in the older one. The expression's a little odd there, I think, but I like also a lot of green action going on. And the new one is nice.
Makes sense on the ability as well.
Yeah, she's very tranquil in the forests, all amongst the trees, that you're able to play faster than your opponent.
Yep.
Now, apparently this is one of these expensive cards that they don't print very often. I'm looking at some prices here. At the most expensive, it's been at $53, but even the original Kamigawa printing is $34. So more reprints of these expensive cards, I think, is good, because this game can definitely get expensive in paper. I think we're spoiled when we play Arena that you can pay gold, virtual currency, for your wild cards and such, but I think reprints in real life are very important.
Yeah, I mean, even though that's kind of like the same effect with Grim Tutor, which, of course, I heard the original copy, it actually costs over $300.
Yeah.
Was it so ridiculous? But now with the big revealed of it's being reprinted, it's actually caused a big price drop on it now.
Exactly. That's one of those ones that has been like a mythical card that everyone wants, but it has not been printed for decades, and very expensive. And so when they were starting to reveal the new cards, this is the one that definitely I felt like I want that card. I want to put this in my decks so that I can go tutor for something amazing, because nowadays we mostly get 4 mana tutors. We got like let's see, Diabolic Tutor, I believe, in Kaladesh a few years ago. We got another tutor. We got Mastermind's Acquisition and Ixalan, but that was 4 mana. So it looks like most of the tutors nowadays are 4 mana. Or if they're lower than that, they have a downside, like Scheming Symmetry is 1 black mana. You can go search for your card, but your opponent also has to go search for one of their cards. So I'm glad to see a no compromise tutor. You just lose 3 life, but that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, which of the arts do you like best? There's 2 arts for the Grim Tutor. There's the one of blood dripping on a book, and there's another one with a book, with even more blood.
I probably like the one with the book with more blood. It's kind of makes sense on the concept, because you're kind of losing life to it.
Yes.
But you're trying to get a bigger creature or bigger, powerful spell that will probably be like a big end game type of thing.
Yeah, and for only 3 mana, you'll have enough mana left over for that other card that you summoned to start to end the game. So I definitely see how I like both of these arts a lot, but definitely the full art one with the book standing up, I think that one is very powerful. Who's the artist on that? Antonio Jose Manzanedo. So very cool art on that. What do you think in general about all the art in the recent Magic sets?
I actually love most of them, actually. Even though I like some of the great details, and some are really well designed, some are just like a bit like old-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost like example, Bass Tamper, which like Uh, Basically, of course, it's a goblin, but it's sort of like a very old art style way of its look. I mean, the color scheme is like definitely something back from the 90s or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I first played Magic back in the 90s, and I remember the old art. It was good art, but compared to nowadays, it's a little bit more naive. And I don't mean that negatively, of course, because all of the artists back then, they were good artists. It's just that at that time, that was the style. So nowadays, when we get much more of this like realistic style, or perhaps a computer colorized style, you definitely see a difference when you look at some of the more classic art. But I like it still. I like a variety of different art.
Same. Well, what I was going to say, the one I thought is probably the best is the Fairy Master of Time. The artwork of it. I actually kind of love it much more than any card of it.
Let me pull that one up. Oh yeah, that's I like how he's so centered on the card art and looks like just very powerful, and his glowing eyes and such. What do you think about the variety of alternate versions of the art? Because there's not just the main art, but there are many variations of it.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard choice on which one is the best. But it's just something about of course, about him in the center is kind of more powerful. And I kind of like the circle in him, like, I don't know what it is, but it's something, it's like him, Wayman Tame or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a very, like, techno, I will say, but it is magic after all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. It's almost like something like you see already as science fiction, but it's really good somehow, like really matched to the style of it. It is, even though it's very realistic, it's almost a convince like, is this computer generate or not?
Mm-hmm.
It's like really, really well designed to of it.
Mm-hmm. I had not thought of it, but now that you mention it, that it's sort of like a techno or cyberpunk style, yeah, I could definitely see that. That's that style of blue neon glowing and such, but if Teferi is the master of time, then I don't doubt that he's gone to the future of Dominaria, where everyone's now using computers.
And probably find out, yeah, magic is gone somehow. Everyone's forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like that Disney film, Outward. I mean, Onward, not Outward. Is it Outward or I can't remember now. But it's a great movie too.
Yes. I don't know if you are looking at that Teferi card in Scryfall, in the website Scryfall.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you hover over the various printings of it on the right side, if you hover over each one quickly, do you see the effect of like the energy moving?
Yes, actually, do. It is kind of makes sense because he is a very powerful mage.
Yeah. So then in real life, if a person gets all of those different versions of the art, they can also flip it like a flip book and see it animating.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they probably could do that with the upcoming Netflix of Magic of Gathering, which I keep hearing about.
Oh yeah, there's that Netflix show that they announced several months ago, but I haven't heard anything new about it since the first announcements. What about yourself?
Never heard much, but only I heard like they're talking about making an animated series and a live action series, which is quite new. Assuming they probably make like live actions, probably like the current storyline, and I assuming the animations is going to be like backstories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we don't know yet until if there's any more word, because who knows.
Mm-hmm. They are probably still doing a lot behind the scenes. They're just not revealing too much until they have something to show. So we'll just keep our eyes out for the latest news on that. Speaking of latest news, did you hear? It's not a big deal for myself and maybe for yourself, but they just tweeted earlier today that the Mac version of Arena is coming in a few days.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually happy with that. It is definitely good for any Mac users, and even, of course, if you have any audience are using the Mac, it would be great for them to join in.
Exactly. More people playing Magic, I think, is good, and I think it's been about 2 years now since there was the beta arena and then public arena, and so finally they've got a Mac version for all of the people that have been wanting to play it, so I guess next is mobile. They're going to put that on mobile too, and then have even more people playing.
Yeah.
Well, Wizard Oak, as we wind down, any final thoughts on anything at all? I forgot to ask you, what did you think in general about Ikoria? I didn't have you on the podcast when Ikoria was out, and now the new cool set, of course, is Corsa 21, but maybe some final quick thoughts on Ikoria.
So far, after playing Ikoria cards, I actually enjoy some of the cards. It is a good set. Not saying it's bad, but it's just good. But even though I just kind of I want to get all those Godzilla's Ultra Arts because I just love Godzilla, and I just kind of love the after announcement of Godzilla is kind of crossing over to Magic the Gathering. And I was amazed over it. But yet again, there are some ridiculously powerful cards, of course. Probably say Wendigo, which is her ability. Every time you have a non-human creature attack, you may look top of your 4 cards and put a human in the battlefield and be, indestructible and haste. Which I actually love it. Other ones I also love the Heartless Act, which is amazing card. That's like a best destroyed card ever. And even though it also can remove counters as well, which is also great. But I just kind of that one's actually the best instinct spell out there on that set.
Yeah, that's the one that people are saying is the better Doomblade. For a long time, Doomblade was the standard for instant removal at 2 mana. Doomblade, however, would not affect a black creature. This one can affect any creature for 2 mana. The downside, of course, is that if it's got counters, it won't kill it. It'll just remove the counters. But that's similar to when there was, back in Ixalan, there was the 2 black mana Walk the Plank. In Ixalan, Walk the Plank was not as good because it said destroy any non-merfolk creature, and Ixalan was full of merfolk, so it wasn't that great. But I've then played with Walk the Plank in other sets, other formats, and it's great. It's just a 2 mana kill a creature unless it's a merfolk, and outside of Ixalan, you don't see a lot of merfolk oftentimes. With Heartless Act, well, in Ikoria, you're going to see a lot of creatures with counters. That was a big part of Ikoria. But outside of Ikoria, it's just a 2 mana kill any creature, even their most powerful one that they spent so much mana to summon.
Yeah. I mean, even like I said, Ikoria is just a good set. I'm not saying it's the best set of this year, but I say the best set of the year is definitely so far is M21 this year. It's just something about this core set is definitely nail the right stuff for both new and old, which I'm happy about.
I totally agree. I can't wait to get a few cards in real life and hopefully get a full art foil Grim Tutor for my deck.
And even I hope I would gathering with my friends once everything is eased down, which is the most important of them all.
Yes, same here.
Yeah, even though this kind of still sucks with the whole pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're still holding strong. That's the main point.
Exactly. If we look back on history, there have been many challenges throughout history, and we are living through our own challenge. And I think if people take it seriously and be empathetic and open-minded, I think we'll get through this as well and be stronger on the other side of it.
Yep. It's like the most part and all of this historic moment. Well, historic year, I meant to say.
Yes. Well, let's tell the people one more time where we can find you online and get you a little traffic.
Well, you can find me on Twitter as wizardoak, as I am called, and even on YouTube as well.
Thank you so much. People can find me on Twitter as VM Campos. On my Patreon, I've got some fun rewards there. I'm on Twitch as well as VM Campos. And on YouTube, however, I am VM Campos JR. People have to put that JR there because VM Campos was taken. Or just search VM Campos, you'll find me there easily. So thank you so much, wizardoak, for being on the podcast again.
You're welcome.
This has been VM Campos, and I'll see you in the arena.